Alright, so day 2 notes. So the first thing is measuring segments, the ruler postulate. So the ruler postulate just tells us we can find the distance between 2 points. So when we want to find the distance between 2 points, they just call that AB. So that means I want to find the distance. And this is 2 like singular points. Like if this is 5 and this is 4, okay, just like a number, so that'd be the absolute value of point A minus point B. Okay, and remember, absolute value means that is always positive. Okay, so congruent segments. If AB equals CD, so that's the length of AB equals the length of CD, so look here, then the segments are congruent. This is written as AB with a segment over it is congruent, this is congruent to CD, okay? So this means congruent. That's the sign we use for congruent, alright? So let's find some lengths. So I'm going to find the length of ST. So ST, absolute value of -4 minus 8, okay? Which gives me -12. Absolute value of 12 is positive 12. Length of TV. T is at 8. V is at 14. Put my absolute value around it. 8 minus 14 is -6. Absolute value of -6 is positive 6. Length of SV. S is at -4. V is at 14. Subtract those, I get -18. So the distance is 18. Length of TU. So 8 minus 10 gives me the absolute value of -2, and that gives me positive 2. Okay? Alright, now we have the segment addition postulate. That says if I have 3 points in a straight line, okay, and one of those points is between the others, then I can take AB, this segment length, plus BC, that segment length, and that equals AC. Okay? I like to think of this as part plus part equals whole. Okay? Part 1 plus part 2 equals the whole thing. Okay? So, we're going to use the segment addition postulate. This says if PQ is 9 and QR is 28, okay, I've labeled 9 for PQ and 28 for QR, I want to find the whole thing. Okay? So I know that part plus part equals whole. So PR is 37. Okay? Alright, they're giving us different values now. So I'm going to erase these. It says QR is 17. Okay, I'm going to label QR as 17. PR is 21. That's the whole thing is 21. I want to find PQ. Okay, I'm going to call that X. I want to find this little piece. Well, they gave me whole and the big part. So that means if I take the big part, the whole minus the big part, I'll find my little part. So if I do 21 minus 17, that means PQ is 4. Okay? Alright. Next. Same idea here. Okay? If HF is 10 and GF is 1, what is HG? So they gave me the whole and the little part. So anytime I'm given the whole, I'm going to subtract from whatever part they gave me. So 10 minus 1 is 9, so HG is 9. Okay? Alright, number 3. AB and BC, find AC. AB, BC, they gave me part and part. So anytime I'm given both parts to find the whole, I add these together, okay, and I get 31. Okay? So anytime they give me the parts, I add. Anytime they give me the whole, I subtract. Okay? We're going to talk a little bit about midpoints. Okay? A midpoint of a segment is a point that divides the segment into two congruent segments. Okay? A segment bisector, okay, is a line where your segment that intersects a segment at its midpoint is said to bisect the segment and is called a segment bisector. Okay, so the thing I want you to remember about bisect, it means to cut in half. Cut in half. Okay? So, in this diagram to the left, B is our midpoint. Okay, it's in the middle of the segment. Okay, it cuts it into two congruent segments. So, midpoints also cut segments in half. Okay? And so, since B is the midpoint of AC, and line L would be the segment bisector of line AC, or segment AC, I apologize. Okay, so a midpoint is a point that cuts a segment in half. A segment bisector is a line that cuts a segment in half. Okay, so example 4 says H is the midpoint of GI. So H cuts this into two congruent segments. That's how I mark congruent, okay? If both things have one line, that's congruent, okay? So H is the midpoint of GI. I want to find GH. Well, before I can find GH, I have to find X. Well, since I know these are congruent, I can set them equal to each other and solve for X. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides, bring down my 2, 9 minus 5 is 4x, minus 10, add 10, 12 equals 4x, and x equals 3. Now I'm not done because they didn't ask me to find x, they asked me to find GH. Anytime they want me to find the length, I plug it back in. So I know GH equals 5x plus 2. Well, I know that x equals 3, so I'm going to plug it in. So 5 times 3 plus 2, 15 plus 2. 15 plus 2 is 17. So that means that GH is 17, and that's the answer that I want. Okay? So I want you to try this one on your own, okay? And we're going to go over in class.